30-day project, I'm reading Deep Work by Cal Newport. Even in chapter 1 of the book, Cal Newport discusses how important the idea of deep work really is and how extremely valuable it is. But distractions are a huge part of why many people are not able to get that deep work done. So one tip that he mentions is to start off with a clean workspace so that you're not distracted by your surroundings or how messy your area is. For day 1 and day 2, I was using the Pomodoro technique so that I could time block my deep work and make sure I got my work done in a specific period of time. For week 1, day 3, I'm focusing on putting my phone away along with all other distractions, frankly. On page 43 of Deep Work, Cal Newport writes that Grant minimizes the negative impacts of attention residue from his other obligations, allowing him to maximize performance on one task. When Grant is working for days in isolation on paper, in other words, he is doing so at a higher level of effectiveness than the standard professor. So, obviously, we're not going to be writing a paper for days on end and being isolated, but when you are working on one task for 1 hour long, for example, and not doing something else and not picking up your phone every 20 minutes or every 5 minutes or even scrolling on TikTok while you're writing your essay. While you're not doing that, that's going to allow you to get better work done and honestly probably finish it faster overall. So for the rest of the week, I just worked to combine all these practices from the previous days. So for example, make sure to clear my space before I do homework or something like that. And then I'll also set specific time periods of when I'm going to be doing homework or studying so that I'm not distracted by anything else. And I'm only doing homework or studying. And I'm also putting my phone in a different room while I do that so I'm not distracted and picking my phone up every 5 minutes. The author describes this concept of shallow tasks. Now, shallow tasks can be anything from answering emails, doing admin work, or answering messages. But these are all going to be tasks that are just light and easy to do and something that can be done quickly. But he also shows how these tasks can actually divert attention from doing what he calls deep work. So his solution to this problem is by setting a certain time block of whatever works for you and doing just those shallow tasks and making a list or something of that sort of what you're going to get done in that certain time period, and you're going to do nothing over that time period so that you're not taking attention away from something that needs more attention. In Deep Work, Cal Newport writes that many knowledge workers spend most of their working day interacting with these shallow concerns. In the book Deep Work, Cal Newport writes that many knowledge workers spend most of their working day interacting with these types of shallow concerns. Even when they're required to complete something more involved, the habit of frequently checking inboxes ensures that the issues remain at the front of their attention. So this shows that even when these workers are required to do something more knowledgeable, more just deep work type of things, the fact that they're constantly having to check their emails or other stuff keeps their attention divided from the work they're actually supposed to be doing, which then prevents their work from either being as good even or just getting it done at all. One idea from the book is to create a list of everything that you consider a shallow task. So that way you're able to do all of these tasks in a time block of whatever period you choose before you even think about doing your deep work. So that way you're not having to switch back and forth from checking your emails to then having to study for a midterm. Since I never really explained what I was doing each of the days, for days 1, 2, I was just thinking of examples of shallow tasks that I could do that fit my day-to-day life. And then days 3, 4, and 5, I was just working on doing all of those tasks together and just kind of fitting that into my everyday routine, I guess. And then the rest of the week, I was working on not only doing time blocks, but then also doing shallow tasks and then deep work right after. So then I was not focused or, half focused on trying to do homework and then having to think of, oh, I have to respond to that person or I have to call back that, whatever. So that was mainly what I was doing this week. So the whole goal for week 3 is to resist checking anything distracting when you're trying to do something like deep work or just something that you can do straight through and not have to check your phone or social media or anything like that. Cal Newport discusses in his book that the average knowledge worker turns to a distracting tool once every 6 minutes. And in an 8-hour workday, that is actually about 80 times. And that's not including in the morning, that's not including at night. So that's a lot. And he also says once your brain has become accustomed to this on-demand distraction, it's hard to shake the addiction even when you want to concentrate, because your brain is so used to getting that quick boost of stimulus whenever you want, so you can just go ahead and pick it up and not even think about it. But he also says that the more you use social media in the way it's designed to be used persistently throughout your waking hours, the more your brain learns to crave a quick hit of stimulus at the slight hint of boredom. So if you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, if you're doing something that you're bored, or just really anything, honestly, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to scroll social media. And then over time, you're just going to automatically think to get that quick boost of dopamine by just scrolling social media or checking your phone or anything like that. And it actually takes about 21 to 66 days to create a habit. So just in that short time period, all of a sudden you have the habit of checking your phone every 6 minutes. And checking your phone every 6 minutes is more common than being able to go a long period of time without not checking your phone or social media or anything like that. So this is day 3, week 3, and for the past couple days, I have been just giving myself a certain time period of when I can go on my phone, and that's when I have nothing to do. So before I head off to work, I will go on my phone for a little bit, and I try not to go on it at night too much, because at night I'm trying to do homework or hang out with family or do chores, that kind of thing. I might do scroll on social media before bed, but other than that, I try not to. But it makes me very much aware of how much I am on my phone, and I would say it's gotten a little bit easier, but I feel like it's still a habit to want to check my phone. So yeah, and I'll continue to do this for the rest of the week. I just try to focus on going on my phone when I told myself I can, and if that was like before work or at night after I finish everything, and I would try to stick to that, but sometimes it did not work. For week 4, we are focusing on creating better routines, structures, and just habits overall. So the quote for this week from the book is, "The key to developing a deep work habit is to move beyond good intentions and add routines and rituals to your working life, designed to minimize the amount of your limited willpower necessary to transition into and maintain a state of unbroken concentration." So with that being said, it's basically saying when you're transitioning from a certain time block, for example, from shallow work to deep work, that's making it easier for your brain to focus better. So this week, I'm going to be creating a schedule that includes all those things from the past week and into this week to just overall maintain everything that I have done throughout the past weeks. It allows me to ensure that I'm getting everything done that I need to for that day, and I even make sure that I get a break for social media or whatever I need to do, and even have time for my job and anything else. So it is day 3, and for the past couple days, I've been working on just sticking to that specific task that I set myself in those time blocks. And for the most part, I would say it's been going pretty okay, but sometimes it's hard to just consistently stick to that and be able to go for just that exact amount of time and not go over or under, and be consistent even when my schedule changes with work or something like that. For day 5, the whole goal of this day was to eliminate anything that can further distract you. So that can be TV, music, even if it's just in the background, or your family coming in and out of your room, anything like that. And then for day 6, this was focused on Cal Newport's idea of trying to get rid of any shallow work that you don't really need, or grouping it together, or just trying to spend less time on it even. And then for the last day of this project, the whole goal was just to group together everything that we've done in the past couple weeks and just create routines and habits to stick to. And to end the project, Cal Newport describes that what you spend your time and attention on really matters, and you can choose whatever you want to spend your attention on. And to him, that is one of the most valuable things that he states in his book.